Welcome to Around the Peninsula. I'm Specialist Van Reeves. Learning new skills and investing in innate talents can be a lot of fun. Sergeant A.J. Bate shows us how some people are doing just that this holiday season.
You're coming towards me.
Service members and their families practice their parts for the play A Christmas Story at Camp Humphreys Community Activity Center.
Ralphie, hurry!
To get people involved in something like this, sometimes reaching out to others is important. One individual found herself in the right place at the right time. Natalie Cornwall tells us her experience.
When I came to the auditions for The Christmas Story, I actually was coming to pick up a tech form. Then I got roped into auditioning, and I ended up getting the lead role, Ralphie.
Natalie says she loves acting in A Christmas Story because it's fun for both the performers and the audience. Chief Rusty Birch from 4-2 Attack Reconnaissance Battalion tells us about his experience.
I think performing is beneficial to people. It helps you build your courage. The first time I got on stage, I was not courageous at all in any way, shape, or form, but through the last 2 plays that I've done, it helped me to redefine my courage.
Chief Birch is the assistant director and narrator of the show. Andrew Holland lets us know why he performs.
The thing about performing is that you make friends and you get to see people do what they do, and you can see so much talent. And really, in every single performance I've been in, I've made tons of friends through it.
Sir, get up.
From Camp Humphreys, I'm Army Sergeant A.J. Bate.
Good job, guys. A Christmas Story debuted in 1983, but briefly faded from popularity due to lack of pre-theater expectations. It found its way back through videotape and cable broadcasts, was first aired for 24 hours in 1986, and continues to attract over 40 million viewers each year. More so than ever during the holiday season, it's an important time to help others. This year, a group from Camp Humphreys decided to prepare a traditional Korean food for the less fortunate. Air Force Staff Sergeant Darren Murphy explains.
Most people living in Korea are familiar with the country's most famous dish, kimchi, a blend of fermented cabbage, spices, and other ingredients. Volunteers from U.S. Army Garrison Humphreys help support the holiday season by helping prepare over 3,000 pounds of kimchi to share with the less fortunate. The event has been held annually for the past 5 years and is sponsored by the Salvation Army Hobjung Social Welfare Center, Korail, and Pyeongtaek Station. One participant, Amy Brigham, took part to learn more about the Korean culture.
I believe it's important because we can learn from others. We can learn about their culture, we can learn about different ways of doing things, different food ways, and different ways seasons are celebrated.
The event gave the volunteers a chance to learn how to make traditional Korean food while helping neighbors in need as local community members. Reporting from AK Plaza in Pyeongtaek, South Korea, I'm Air Force Staff Sergeant Darren Murphy.
This was the first time that the U.S. Forces Korea took part in the event. The weather may be getting colder, but the warmth from the hearts of our service members in Yongsan keeps our local neighbors warm this season. Katyusha Private Sun Shin-young introduces us to this event.
The start of winter brings cold nights. For some people living in Korea, this is not a welcoming news. Soldiers from the 1st Signal Brigade on Yongsan are reaching out to help their neighbors.
It gets pretty cold in Korea, but we got an invite from Yongsan, and we were more than happy to help. We want to get out here. We're Signal Brigade, so we like to keep connectivity with the community and also to make sure people are warm this year.
Delivering charcoal is the first of many contributions to the local community. The 1st Signal Brigade looks to further enhance their relationship with the Korean people.
Yeah, we definitely want to do more events like this in the community. I know we've got a lot of people that are interested in it. Hopefully this becomes an annual thing. If not, we're hoping maybe we could do some orphanage events, other things in the local area, but we just want to keep giving back to the community.
Katyusha Private Sun Shin-young, Yongsan, Korea.
This event was the first of hopefully many in the years to come. Being equipped and ready to go is always at the forefront of a military member's mind. Senior Airman Emma Mayen shows us how soldiers at Camp Humphreys are staying up to date on their training.
A properly functioning piece of equipment can be the difference between life and death. Knowing the proper procedures and preventive maintenance checks and services, or PMCS, could potentially save lives.
Today, we actually had a couple of training where we had to do the maintenance train walk, and while we were actually doing that, we had a couple of stations. So we had a couple of places where we had generators. The reason why we actually go ahead and do that is to ensure that our pieces of equipment is actually working properly. In order for us to do that, we actually have to do during, before, after PMCSs to ensure that the piece of equipment is performing the way it should be.
Soldiers on Camp Humphreys are doing their part every day to ensure they're ready to go at all times. Senior Airman Emma Mayen, Camp Humphreys, Korea.
The 532nd MIB was first constituted in 1951 at Stuttgart, Federal Republic of Germany, as the 532nd Military Intelligence Company. This operations battalion processes, analyzes, produces, and disseminates intelligence. The 8th Security Forces Squadron works with special military members who take on exceptionally important roles when it comes to saving lives. And the relationships they have with their partners extends beyond the military. Army Sergeant Julie Yeager has the story.
A dog, or in this case, a military working dog, or an MWD, is in many ways considered an airman's best friend. For example, Oive here would fight to her end if it came down to that. The training they receive drives them to sound obedience.
The level of trust that I have with MWD Oive is through the roof. You know, just knowing that I can rely on her to, ultimately save my life is remarkable.
In this exercise, Oive takes down an assailant. She also runs through the confidence course, which is just a game to her, but is essential for getting Oive used to climbing through tight spaces or watching her step when quickly moving over obstacles. With dogs' super-sensitive capabilities, such as being able to sniff out explosives or see well in the dark, it's no wonder they've aided militaries for centuries. And with that, the bond between handler and dog continues to grow.
So the bond that MWD Oive and I have is inseparable. It's a bond that no other can compare to.
And is the feeling mutual, Oive? Well, you don't say much. Can't argue with that. From Kunsan Air Base, I'm Army Sergeant Julie Yeager.
I guess a dog can smell better than it can speak. Great traditions and rivalries are being upheld this holiday season. Army Sergeant Celine Lee takes us to the game that keeps on giving.
With the Army-Navy college football game just days away, Yongsan gets an unofficial preview of things to come with the annual flag football game held on post. Hi, I'm Army Sergeant Celine Lee, and after skillfully planned tryouts and gruesome practices, it's that time here in Yongsan for the Army versus Navy flag football game at the Seoul American High School football field. You already know what team I'm going for. Go Army. With over 15 years of history, this rivalry only gets better with age.
Today we're going to mix it up a little bit, just try to have a little bit more fun with it, and hopefully we still can win.
Yeah. The Army versus Navy flag football game isn't just about the football game itself. We have an amazing community, awesome cheerleaders, and we have an exciting crowd. Sergeant Celine Lee, Yongsan, Korea.
The Army sunk the Navy's battleship with a final score of 20-0. Every military member experiences a lot of changes throughout their career, but there's one thing that will never change. A good education will always be a worthwhile pursuit. Senior Airman Sydney Manning takes us to the Camp Humphreys Education Center.
Soldiers from Camp Humphreys learn about the U.S. Army's opportunities to cross into the warrant officer or commissioned officer corps. Active duty soldiers learn that by furthering their education, new career pathways are available to them. Geraldine Hicks, Camp Humphreys Education Services Officer, tells us why education is so important.
Education is one of those things that they can't take from you. Once you have an education, it is kind of like your roadmap to success. If you don't have a good education, you limit it with things that you can do. You limit it in every resource that's out there. But with education, you have the choice to make it if you want to.
Senior Airman Sydney Manning, Camp Humphreys, Korea.
Contact the Camp Humphreys Education Center to learn more about the education services available to you. That was your Around the Peninsula. To see these stories and others, go to the AFN Pacific website or view them through the AFN Pacific app. From all of us at AFN, enjoy your evening.